there have been so many video game remasters over the years. It's not necessarily bad, since it's an excellent avenue for newbies to get into a beloved game. My problem is that some companies remastered their titles a little too soon. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Naughty Dog. It's only been 5 years since the original release of The Last of Us Part 2 on the PS4, and only a year since it got ported to the PS5. Despite how divisive the game is, we can all at least agree it still looks gorgeous and plays so smoothly that it doesn't need to be remastered so soon. The first two Arkham games, Asylum and City, also received the remastered treatment with the Batman Return to Arkham bundle. It basically took the original games and gave them a nice repaint, but in doing so, it took away the gritty charm of the games and exposed their graphical shortcomings. There are just some games that don't need to be remastered since they're still just as good. Other games need to be brought back into the limelight, and that's what we're gonna do today. Hello everyone, welcome to Gaming Backlog. I'm Vina, and I want to talk about games that need, nay, deserve to be remastered. Before we do just that, I want to establish some parameters for my selection. 1. I'm talking about remasters, and not remakes. I just want games with HD touch-ups and updated gameplay to be ported on modern consoles. 2. I'll be picking games from a long-dormant franchise or games that haven't seen mainstream attention in a long time. So you won't see titles with Resident, Evil, or Final, and Fantasy. This brings me to number 3. We're opting out of the usual titles in other people's lists. Games like Bloodborne, KOTOR, Bully, or Dino Crisis have been thrown in the mix for years now, or at least came close to being remastered at some point in time. While it would be cool to see them remastered/remade, other games need to be brought up in the conversation. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get to our list, in no particular order, shall we? Twisted Metal is one of the most recognizable PlayStation games back in the day. The game is pretty simple. Select your vehicle of mass destruction, eradicate the competition, win, and repeat. The story is not the best, but it has quirky characters and awesome vehicles decked out with all sorts of arsenal. It's all good driving/shooter fun. The last Twisted Metal game was released back in 2012 for the PS3. It's been 13 years and there have been several attempts to reignite the franchise to no avail. With its 30th anniversary coming up, yeah, you heard right, and a successful TV show starring Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatrice that aired back in 2023, which is getting a second season this year too apparently. I think it's time the world gets reintroduced to this franchise. While the first Twisted Metal, its follow-up, and the reboot are available on the PlayStation Store, they are now showing their age. The franchise has also faded into obscurity to only but a few. Sure, the show may have brought in newer fans, but what game are they going to play to get hyped for the next season? Now's the time to bring it back, especially now that it's turning 30. But maybe our wishes will come true because there are some talks about something happening on the PS5 soon. The gameplay loop is timeless, and sometimes all you need is some good old chaos and destruction for some mindless fun. Who doesn't love Jak and Daxter? Jak and Daxter is a fun epic adventure that, at the time, innovated on the 3D platform genre with smooth animations, varied gameplay types, and an engaging story that endears you to the duo as you follow them on their adventures.
This place has too much excitement.
We got the remastered trilogy in 2012, but that was way back in the PS3 and PS Vita era, limited to PlayStation users. Since Sony is in a porting mood, they should seriously give Jak and Daxter a chance. The graphics, especially the first game, may look clunky now that time has passed, but it doesn't take away from Naughty Dog's efforts to perfect the gameplay. Jak and Daxter offered a variety of stages and levels that kept the game exciting, except for the Blue Ring challenge. Yeah, that mission. Many innovative platformers have come out since, but the trilogy solidified its position in gaming history. And if we can't get a sequel, we would gladly take a remaster. Who knew that a character who was once conceptualized as a one-off could possibly be so immensely popular that it spawned one of the most memorable games in Sonic's gaming history? Initially released for the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox, Shadow the Hedgehog was quite infamous, bordering blasphemous for its level designs, mature themes, and Shadow's affinity for firearms. Things that are not often associated with the Sonic franchise. But these are the exact reasons that made the game appealing. The game is flawed, yet remains a fun experience. The homing attack can be unreliable, and the auto-aim makes it more of a challenge to shoot up enemies, which is a good starting point to improve on if Sega decides to pick up the game again. However, the game gives players the freedom to choose a path for Shadow, which can lead to 11 different endings, adding to the game's replay value. A remaster offers a chance for Sega to fix the game's flaws, give older fans a chance to relive fond memories, and newer fans a chance to see Shadow in action. It's baffling to me that Shadow only appeared as a main character twice. I'm certain Sega has big plans with Sonic's newfound popularity among modern gamers thanks to the recent films, and hopefully, a Shadow the Hedgehog remaster is one of them. You know what Capcom is good at? Survival horror. Resident Evil comes to mind since it popularized the genre, but one game remains buried, and it's Haunting Ground. The game follows 18-year-old Fiona looking for a way out after waking up in a dungeon. She meets a white German shepherd named Huey, and together, they must escape the mysterious castle and uncover the reason for her kidnapping, all the while evading her captors. Some of you may not have heard of this game, and we don't blame you. It was released a couple of months after Resident Evil 4 and was completely overshadowed by it. Resident Evil was already a household name, and Haunting Ground is the newcomer to the genre. It could also be that Resident Evil players at that time favored something more action-heavy, since Haunting Ground didn't feature traditional combat mechanics. Instead, Fiona can hide from enemies and use environments to temporarily incapacitate them. She can also command Huey and help fend off enemies, but you have to make sure to use in-game mechanics to train him and strengthen your bond.
Good boy.
On the surface, Haunting Ground feels like a run-of-the-mill survival horror game, but what makes it stand out from the games at that time is the panic mode. If Fiona is in a dangerous situation, she starts to panic, making visibility worse. You can't access the menu, and players will lose control of her. The unpredictable nature of the game adds to the dread, aside from being chased by the game's antagonists. While it wasn't a mainstream success like Resident Evil, Haunting Ground earned a loyal cult following and is worthy of a revisit. The gameplay is unique even today, and it has one of the most disturbing stories Capcom has ever made.
Let me into your womb!
What did he say?
Henshin a go-go, baby! It's been a while since I've heard anyone talk about Viewtiful Joe. Released in 2003, Viewtiful Joe is a classic beat-em-up platform game for the GameCube, and was later ported to the PS2. It follows Joe who must save his girlfriend Sylvia after getting sucked into movie land while they were watching a movie. Captain Blue, the protagonist of the movie they were watching, grants Joe a V-Watch, a device that transforms him into a superhero. As Viewtiful Joe, he must fight his way through an organization of villains and save Sylvia. I mean, come on, how awesome is that? It's a classic hero tale. Viewtiful Joe plays like your typical beat-em-up side-scroller. You can punch, kick, jump, double jump, and dodge. What makes it stand out from the rest is its striking visuals inspired by American superheroes and traditional Japanese tokusatsu. And it shows in the gameplay too. With his beautiful effects power, Joe is granted special abilities for combat and puzzle solving. Each time they're activated, his abilities emulate various camera tricks that are loud and visually stunning. If Capcom is looking to bring new life to a franchise, it has to be this one. Viewtiful Joe was original and entertaining, and it's a shame that Capcom hasn't made a follow-up since 2005. The game has now visually aged, but the gameplay remains intact. The primary complaint most critics had before was the lack of boss variety and its general difficulty, which could be easily fixed, hopefully, with a remaster. There are so much more games in dire need of remastering. I'm sure you have ideas of your own, so let us know in the comments below. Of course, for all sorts of video game content, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Again, I'm Bina, and I'll see you next time.